welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic capital of Nigeria. My name is Henry Igwebike. We'll be starting off today with our newspapers as usual, and right after that in the jiffy would be our main conversation also for today. But please do well to be part of what we do. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're so very honored to have with us, joining us via Zoom, Dr. Olayinka Oyegbile. He is an educationist and a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Doctor, and welcome to Enterprise Morning today.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so very much for your time. Now let's start off today with the Daily Trust newspaper. We have a laundry list of interesting stories here, like the killings. Enough is enough. Northern traditional rulers say, and Tinubu laying foundation for Nigeria's prosperity. That's coming from Burrell. But our talking point for today: Nigeria moving backward under Tinubu. El-Rufai alleges, and we have a couple of riders here. Ruling party only remembered Buhari after my defection. Doctor, I'd love you to speak to the issue of El-Rufai alleging that his bosom friend, his once a bosom friend, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, alleging that his government is moving backward. And let's not forget, El-Rufai made it possible, made it very possible, 80% for the acceptance of Bola Ahmed Tinubu by Nigerians who voted for him. Speak to us.
In all honesty, talking about Nasir El-Rufai for me is a very, very difficult, or how do I put it, issue. Because as far as I'm concerned, El-Rufai only talks when it's out of favor. What is happening now, we all, if we cast our mind back, we know that perhaps as a reward for El-Rufai backing Bola Tinubu among northern governors to make sure that Bola Tinubu becomes the president of Nigeria. Maybe as a reward for him, he was nominated to be an ambassador, but somehow, the National Assembly and the security operatives or the security agencies had some damning reports, which they said made it impossible for him to be confirmed as a minister. But be that as it may, a governor, a two-term governor, a former minister, what could have been the damning security reports that will make the National Assembly or the security agencies to turn him down or to say he should not be confirmed? All that, I believe, as Simon Kolawole will always say, is all politics. Why is it all politics? Maybe in his heart of hearts, Bola Tinubu never wanted El-Rufai to be a minister in his cabinet. Maybe it's just to satisfy righteousness, that was why he nominated him. And apart from that, it is also possible that before, when Buhari was there are some stories that we've had, which El-Rufai was a key player in that, which made the relationship between Buhari and Tinubu to go sour at that time, until around 2018, 2019, when they know that they needed him again, they curried his favor to support him for a second time, another. Well, that's a story for another day. So if El-Rufai had been okayed as a minister, and is a minister in the current government, will he have defected? Will he? The thing I've seen in this is that the feeding bottle has been taken away from him like a child and is crying. For goodness sake, there's life after being in government. This chap has been in government since 1999, when Nigeria returned to civil rule. So in only 2 years that he has been out of government, is that time that he now knows that Bola Tinubu is making Nigeria regress. It is that time that he now knows that APC is not the right party. I don't say talk with such people. What I believe very sincerely is that, as it is typical of him, this pin-sized man is only fighting for himself and not for any Nigerian.
Very, very true, Doctor.
Whether it goes to SDP or whatever, there's nothing he can do. He's only fighting for his own selfish interest. So I don't want to get involved in their business. I know that the Bola Tinubu camp, they know him very well. They know how to deal with him. Obasanjo knows him very well. You know how Obasanjo described him in his book, My Words. So whatever El-Rufai says doesn't take a skin off my nose. He's just a frustrated man whose feeling bottle has been taken away from him and he's shouting.
Very, very so unfortunate. And this is a classical case of the chicken coming home to roost, you know, one would say. Yeah. But at the same time, what goes around comes around. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yes, if Bola Ahmed Tinubu knew the kind of person this man is, the question lots of people would ask is, why would he want to dine with someone that he knows he is not interested in? Is that the kind of politics that we should be teaching those who are coming before us? A politics of throwing people under the bus just to get what they want and maybe discard them. Is that the kind of politics we should be playing?
Henry, that is the nature of Nigerian politics. They came to, if you look at it, before 2015, go back into the archives. What were the things that El-Rufai said about Buhari? After, towards 2015, when they knew that they needed Buhari, he recanted his word and went back to him and brought him in along with Bola Tinubu. So, now that he has achieved that, he also knows that he needed Bola Tinubu. Look, the fact that El-Rufai supported Bola Tinubu to be president in 2023 was a case of personal survivor. I will tell you why.
Okay.
El-Rufai knew and knows very well that if Bola Tinubu did not run as Nigeria's president in 2023, if APC were to put another candidate, maybe a northern candidate, or even if it is a southern candidate, and the fellow was able to win the presidency as Bola Tinubu has won, El-Rufai knows that, especially if the candidate had been a northerner, El-Rufai knows that that candidate will not have a smooth run. So, for his own personal survival, he supported Bola Tinubu, hoping that Bola Tinubu will do 8 years, and then maybe in that 8 years, he will have ingrained himself into the Bola Tinubu camp, and then after Bola Tinubu's 8 years, he will be the one to succeed him, because they calculate that the presidency will go back to the north. So he did it for his own personal survival, not for the survival of Nigeria. And now that he has seen that in APC there's no way, he now came back looking for another way to get to the pie. As I said earlier, El-Rufai is just a spoiled child crying because the feeding bottle has been taken away from his mouth. Simple.
Very, very true. You know, but I just sincerely hope and pray that we won't see a Philip Shaibu sort of, you know, a man whose feeling bottle has been taken away from his mouth, who equally succeeded. Remember the Philip Shaibu thing? He wanted to be the governor of Edo State, but because that was denied from him, he became a spoiler and ensured that the PDP man didn't win, and of course went with the APC, who actually won. I would just sincerely hope that would not be the next situation we will see in Nigeria. But
Well,
doctor,
let's wait and see.
all right, sir. But let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. Plateau killings, how militants attacked villages near major army formation. That's coming from victims who survived. Doctor is so very passionate, especially for us as Josites, who have lived there for a larger part of our lives. It was a home for us. We call it Jos, the home of peace and tourism. Unfortunately, it's no longer the home of peace and tourism. It's so very unfortunate. But a situation where those who have survived that mayhem, that massacre, are saying that it was made possible even when the army formation is closest to where the attack happened. Are we seeing any bit of a complicity here?
As you know, Plateau State is not only home. I was born there. I was raised there. I went to school there. I was already a full-grown man before I left Plateau State, just specifically. So I know the nook and crannies of that state. Yes, the victims who said the army formation, an army formation is not too far from where the massacre took place. They have a right to suspect that there must be some untoward move or planning, and I agree with them. Well, you see, the issue of Plateau State, I did a very in-depth study on this in my first book published, Home Away from Home, about Plateau State. Yes, what has happened there, what I see in the issue that has happened there for me is that the president or and solve the problem. I asked myself, how does the president expect the governor to solve that problem? The governor does not command a battalion or a troop. The president does not have the police at his beck and command. He doesn't have the army at his beck and command. He cannot give the GOC an order. Even if he calls on the GOC will have to headquarters before they do anything. So the issue now is, what exactly is the problem? As I posted on the social media the other day, when President Buhari was there, we were saying, or people were saying that Buhari will not be able to deal with it because they are his kinsmen. They are Fulani, they are his kinsmen and all that and so on and so forth. The president now is not they are not his kinsmen. The people who are doing this will know them, or the security agencies know them. So what is hamstringing the president from acting? The president asking the governor to take charge and do everything is like shifting the goalpost. The governor does not have any power to command any troop to do anything. So the army, the commandant of that army formation must be queried. And you see, this thing, it takes both ethnicity, religion, and it takes both ethnicity and religious coloration. So we need to be dispassionate. It is an issue of land grabbing, there's no doubt. The other day, somebody was talking on the streets of Lagos now. How many times do you see Irish potato being hawked? And if you see where it's being hawked, it is very expensive. All all those areas where this trouble are taking place are where this Irish potato are grown. Irish potato is the major crop, or I mean, is the major farming thing that they do in that place.
Yes.
It is exported, it is consumed in Nigeria far and wide. But others have driven people away from their land. People are no longer able to farm. The president, they said, has declared emergency in food security in Nigeria, and I laughed. You declare emergency in food security, you are not securing the farmland, people are not being allowed to go to their farmland all over the country. Then what emergency are you declaring? Until we have a president or leader who is ready to damn the consequences. What we are playing with is a terrible fire. Nigeria is on fire, left, right, and center. All these people, they are everywhere, killing people, taking over their farmland. So if they take over all the farmland and they allow their cattle to graze, is it only cattle we are going to eat to survive? Or who will buy their cattle? So this idea that there must be, the cattle must be allowed to move freely is an archaic way of raising cattle. And those cattle, they are not even healthy. A cattle that has walked from Sokoto to Lagos, what is the health that is in it? I mean, ranching is the best way to solve this problem. But every government comes, they will, look, the statement that was issued by the presidency, we are on top of it, we will solve all these problems. You can as well go and take the statement issued during Jonathan's time. It's the same thing. You can take the statement issued during Obasanjo's time. It's the same thing. It's the same statement. They just remove the name of the president and put the reigning president and all that. It's the same thing they have been promising.
But doctor,
promises is not action.
Yes, but doctor, I totally do agree with you when you said that we need leadership in this country. Unfortunately, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been deceptive when it comes to showing true leadership in this particular case. He told Governor Caleb Mutfwang that the situation is more like a communal crisis. Communal crisis. So does that statement show leadership from the presidency?
Well, whether it is communal crisis or not, what happened? The latest one happened some 2-3 days after the fourth massacre. So, what I expected the president to have done is to call the leadership of the security agencies and give them a marching order. That this thing has happened 2-3 days ago. Why again? 50. And the people that happened took hours. It was not a flash attack. It was not a flash attack. It took hours. So where were the security agencies when all these things were happening? Is it that the attackers, did they come on horsebacks? Did they come on a motorcycle? Did they bring vehicles? How did they escape? How did they disappear into the thin air? I mean, these are questions everybody should be asking. And I begin to ask myself, do we really have security agencies? Do we really have an effective security agent? Or they just sit there in their office, and when they hear that there is a crime has been committed somewhere, after the criminals have gone, they will now enter their vehicles and be blowing siren, telling the criminals that we are coming, we are coming, we are coming, we are coming. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, security work is on the field. How many SSAs or whatever people are all over those places where those things are happening? Because if they are up and doing, they will have had an inkling and they will have nipped this thing in the bud. But the situation is that we allow things to happen and then we issue statements. Government is on top of the matter. We will bring the perpetrators to book. the ones that happened in 2001, when all this trouble began, have they brought the perpetrators to book? No. What has happened? What has happened to all the people who have been caught? Or we just allow emotions to die down, and then life returns to normal. I assure you that this, if there is no, I pray there are no reprisals or there are no more attacks. In another 2-3 weeks, it will die down. Everybody will go back to their normal duty and wait for another disaster to happen. It is unfortunate that it is happening. I have my family who are still living in Plateau up till today. So I know what is going on. I'm not a stranger there. I know what I'm talking about. So the president and the security agencies need to wake up. It is happening in Plateau. It is in Benue. It is in everywhere. People are being killed unjustly. Why?
Yes. Very so unfortunate, Doctor. And I love to believe that some governors in the south west of Nigeria are really, taking that upon themselves to ensure that it won't happen in their own region, especially with what we see with Makinde. We have it here that the Hausa community in Ibadan, backs the Olu Ibadan's removal of Sarkin Sasa. Just like what you talked about, they come and they take over a part of land, and before you know what happens, they lay claims to such places, and they put in a sarki or a leader, a king or chief in that place, and automatically it becomes their own. And when owners of the land, want to claim back their land, and that is the reason for some of this, issue that we have in Jos and other parts of the country. But quickly, let's look at the Guardian newspaper for today. We have a laundry list of stories here. Nigerians are dying due to Tinubu's incompetence, and that's coming from Atiku Abubakar. Lots of debts being thrown at the president at this time. I do not know. Do you think Atiku has the right to throw that kind of debt on the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that Nigerians are dying under him? Speak to us.
Well, our Nigerians not dying. So, you see, for me, it is not, we should not look at the messenger, we should look at the message. The fact that it is Atiku saying it does not take away the fact that it is happening. Whether Atiku is now saying it in an altruistic manner is a different thing entirely. Cast your mind back to 2011 to 2015 when Jonathan was there. Tinubu himself, if what is happening today had happened under a different party or a different president, Tinubu, of course, will also talk.
Yes, very true.
So it is Atiku's right to talk. But what we need to look at is what he's saying true or not?
Yeah.
Yes, people are dying. A lot of people have died. We thought that with the exit of Muhammadu Buhari as Nigeria's president, because in all honesty, whether people will agree or not, the major cause of the death that we are talking about are not the axemen, the kidnappers, and so on and so forth. They are the ones that are causing all this. And if a president who wants to run for another term, because I believe, as usual, Bola Tinubu will not be satisfied with only a term. He will want to contest again. So, if who wants to contest again, who wants to be there for another or 4 years after, even though he has not done the 2 years, but we are already talking of another term. You know, that's Nigeria for you. You spend 2 years to campaign and do virtually nothing in the remaining years. So now, back to what we are talking about. What I believe very strongly is that Atiku has not said what any other person has not said. It is the same thing everybody has been saying. People are dying, either due to the economic policy of the government or through issue of banditry, attacks, and kidnapping. And we thought that, anyway, I saw an army general who ruled all these crimes would not be eradicated. How do you think it will be eradicated? You can be a general and not be and not be a very good taxman. So it does not mean that because Buhari was unable to solve that problem, Tinubu should allow it. In fact, you see, the way it is happening now, the same when Buhari came in, at a point, those things fizzled out. Everybody thinking that, it's a general that is there now, we must be careful. All the bandits, all the kidnappers, as the Yoruba will say, they mellow down. But seeing that the Buhari they thought was going to act was not active, they came out. Tinubu has spent almost 2 years now. These people are coming out. The Sokoto State Governor came out to say that the Boko Haram or the bandits are back. The same thing in Zamfara, in Kano, everywhere they are getting back. In Plateau now, in Benue now. So what are we saying? Is this the way we are going to roll for the next 2 years? As that musician says, say now like this we go, they go. I mean, the president need to wake up. It is not everybody that criticizes the president that doesn't like him. People are criticizing you to make you wake up, make you do what you are supposed to do. Everybody should not be singing the praise of the president.
Very, very true.
Those who are even criticizing you are even your best friend because they want you to succeed. Nigerian citizens want the president to look. Why should I pray that a Nigerian president should fail? If the president fails, it will affect me. Won't it affect me? I'm a citizen. It's like a child praying for his dad to die or his or her education. So what we are saying in essence is that the way people are criticizing the presidency or the government is to make the president sit up and the cabinet. He needs to summon his cabinet and ask them, gentlemen and ladies, what is going on? Why is everything going haywire? What should we do? What can we do?
So very, very true.
So you do not see everybody as an enemy.
So very, very true, Doctor, because I think it's very important at this point that the president should and must differentiate politicking with good governance. There has to be a divide so that we know which we are pursuing. In the United States of America, Joe Biden, who is, I believe, older than our president, when issues like this happen in his country, especially gun violence, maybe a natural disaster, whatever it is, you see Joe Biden, even in his old age, going, visiting the people, having a time with them, discussing with victims and all of that. But unfortunately, our president is still in France on a 14-day work visit while his country is on fire. And one would wonder if really President Bola Tinubu understands why he is the president in the first place.
Paris is the alternate capital of Nigeria, just as London was the alternate capital of Nigeria under Buhari.
Yes, very true. Someone said it's the Aso Rock Paris branch. But of course, it's the situation we found ourselves. Yes,
it's not a laughing matter. But,
very true. You know, so that's just about the time we have for this segment. Just to let you know, Doctor will be here to possibly take us on our main conversation, and that's when we return. CBEX collapses in a 1.3 trillion naira fraud. EFCC, Interpol hunt promoters as investors lose life savings. That's in the beat. Still Enterprise Morning. Please don't.